This is Akashvani. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you an exclusive interview with India's ambassador to Russia, Vinay Kumar, on the eve of PM's visit to Russia to attend 16th BRICS Summit. Interviewer is Naseem Naqvi, Akashvani correspondent.
What are the expectations from the BRICS Summit in Kazan and what outcomes can be anticipated?
I cannot at this stage talk about the outcomes because once the leaders meet and discuss the issues, then only we would know what they have agreed on. But I can share with you this is a very important summit. It is the first summit that is taking place in the expanded format after new members joined BRICS. And on the agenda, foremost place is economic cooperation, increasing the voice of the global south in the international arena, reforms of the global institutions, and also cooperation for economic development and sustainable development at it. Some of the proposals that are on table include financial inclusivity, digital inclusivity, lifestyle for environment. So the leaders will discuss on all these issues and then 2 days later we would know the outcome of the summit.
How will India's chairship of SCO and G20 last year is going to impact this?
A very important initiative that we took last year and it has continued this year was to increase the voice of Global South. Not only African Union joined G20 as a meeting last year during India's chairship of G20, but also we organized 2 Voice of Global South Summit last year and another has been organized this year to understand the aspirations of Global South countries in various arenas: health, education, economic development, political issues of international interest and concern. And they have fed into the position that we have taken and the ideas that we have promoted in deliberations in G20 but also in BRICS. And some of these issues that I mentioned that we seek to share with the global south countries include digital public infrastructure, the unified payment interface. Women-led development is a very important initiative. Also, Prime Minister's lifestyle for environment, which alone can help us deal with the problems of climate change. These are the important contributions that we seek to make in the deliberations.
As a very, very important member of BRICS, what kind of role India is going to play in shaping the BRICS agenda, especially issues like global governance, trade and security and terrorism?
As I was mentioning, sharing of the initiatives which have been proven successful for 1.4 billion Indian people and sharing those with the rest of the global south in particular, be it digital inclusion, financial inclusion, environmental protection and sustainable development are the focus areas. As also reforms of the global institutions including United Nations Security Council is very important for voice of the global south to be heard at international arena.
The theme this year is strengthening multilateralism for just global development and security. What kind of significance it holds for us?
A very important theme. In fact, Russian presidency of BRICS this year has organized more than 200 meetings in which we have very actively participated. As I was saying, reforms of the global institutions, promotion of multipolarity in the world is something that we see close eye to eye with the Russian agenda of this year's BRICS Summit.
Coming to India-Russia relationship, the key takeaways from the India-Russia annual summit this year, etc. How will they impact this Prime Minister's visit to Kazan?
Well, Prime Minister's second visit this year to Russian Federation shows the importance that India and Russia attach to their bilateral relations and also our commitment to BRICS. The bilateral meeting that is expected between Prime Minister and President Putin on the sidelines of BRICS Summit, the leaders would review the implementation of the decisions that they took in July and also give further direction perhaps to maintain the momentum in our bilateral relations.
We have completed 75 years of our diplomatic relationship. How do you see the journey and what is the future ahead?
The journey has been momentous and the trade relations, energy cooperation, cooperation in atomic energy, space, the entire range of cooperation that India and Russia has served the interest of the two countries and our people. And there is a commitment on both sides to take these relations forward, give it a more modern look in keeping with the requirement and technological advancements which have taken place, and also in the growth that has taken place in India in economy, in science and technology. So making the relationship contemporary based on the solid foundations that already exist.
What are we doing to achieve the bilateral trade target of $100 billion by 2030?
We achieved the target that was set previously, way before the time. And now the leaders in July, when they met, have set the target of $100 billion of bilateral trade by 2030. To meet that target, a number of areas are being worked on, which includes increasing India's export basket for Russia, machine tools, automatic parts, chemicals, also food products, apart from the existing areas like pharmaceutical and engineering products. So the idea is that all different sectoral working groups that we have for promoting cooperation, for them to identify their practical areas and expand cooperation to meet this target. This entire thing will be discussed when the next meeting of the India-Russia Joint Intergovernmental Commission takes place next month in New Delhi, which is co-chaired by our External Affairs Minister and First Deputy Prime Minister from the Russian side.
What is the status of bilateral cooperation in fields like energy, science, tech, and nuclear power?
The cooperation is continuing in all these sectors. The trade, that is procurement of crude oil from Russia, continues by the Indian public and private oil majors. Implementation of Kudankulam nuclear power project has also been going on well. And similarly, in science and technology, we have a joint working group which has also created a fund to finance an important initiative in joint research and development.
India has been facing challenges like terrorism from across the border, and in the fast-changing global scenario, what kind of cooperation do you foresee with Russia vis-a-vis common security challenges, terrorism and cyber threats?
In fact, way back, more than 22 years back, the first joint working group that we created for cooperation in counter-terrorism was done with Russia, and various departments involved in this issue continue their cooperation and they meet regularly. And also in the global arena, the two countries cooperate to strengthen multilateral position and institutions which not only condemns terrorism in all its form and manifestations, but also promotes cooperation on information exchange and training, capacity building of the relevant institutions to enable the countries jointly fight the menace of terrorism.
What are some of the major challenges in the relationship, India-Russia relationship?
I won't call them challenges, I would call them new opportunities that have come. And trade settlement is an issue for which we have already provided for settlement in national currencies. Banks and the concerned institutions need to redouble their efforts to fully utilize this facility. Insurance, reinsurance, shipping, these are the issues that today business community is facing. And our effort is to promote relevant institutions to come together and resolve these issues so that the momentum of bilateral trade is maintained.
Russia has been advocating for strengthening BRICS currency vis-a-vis dollar. What is our view on that?
As I was mentioning, trade settlement is national currency is something that we promote, and we have provided now for the mechanism for such settlement of trade in national currencies with various countries, including in the neighborhood, but also Russia.
Coming to people exchanges and cultural ties, wherever I went on the street and talked to the common people, they talk about Raj Kapoor. Old generation talks about Raj Kapoor, young generation talks about Shah Rukh Khan. And of course, Mithun Chakravarti, Dada Sahab Phalke, Mithun Chakravarti. His song is Jimmy Jimmy I heard on the street. What are we doing to strengthen this?
A very important aspect of India-Russia relationship has been cultural cooperation and people-to-people cooperation. We regularly organize cultural festivals across Russia, including in Kazan. There are institutions that we support which teach Indian languages and also Indian dance forms and Indian music. Kazan being one of the very important center in this region of Russia, one of the cities where we want to expand our diplomatic and consular presence is Kazan. And it has already been decided, it was announced during Prime Minister's visit, that we will open 2 new consulates in Russia. One of them will be located in Kazan. So there is already, as you mentioned, significant interest in Indian culture among the people here. With the opening of the consulate, not only this will be promoted, but also trade and business exchanges will be enhanced with this region of Russian Federation.
If I may ask you, what is the agenda of bilateral meeting with President Putin?
When the leaders meet, they discuss the entire gamut of bilateral relations. So at this stage, I would not prejudge all the issues they would discuss, but what I can say that they will certainly discuss all various issues of bilateral and multilateral cooperation that they had touched upon during the visit of Prime Minister to Moscow in July.
Any other bilateral finalized so far?
Some more are likely to take place, which we are working on.
Thank you so much.
As we listen to the exclusive interview with India's ambassador to Russia, Vinay Kumar, now let's go to New Delhi, where Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri addressed a press briefing on Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Russia. Let's listen to some of the snippets.
The Prime Minister will be departing for Kazan tomorrow to attend the 16th BRICS Summit, the invitation of President Vladimir Putin. The theme of this edition of the summit is strengthening multilateralism for just global development and security. As you know, India is a founding member of BRICS and has participated in all of its activities, its initiatives and engagement since its inception. India brings great value to BRICS, and its contributions have played a vital role in shaping BRICS efforts in areas such as economic growth, sustainable development, and global governance reform. We place a great deal of importance on our involvement and our activities within the BRICS Forum, as we view it as a key expression of global multipolarity. BRICS also serves for us as a vital platform to tackle a range of global challenges, while also contributing to the shaping of a fairer, more exclusive and open international order. As you would be aware, this is the first summit that will be taking place after the first ever expansion of BRICS last year at the Johannesburg Summit. So this summit will be attended by the founding members as well as the new members.
Foreign Secretary Mr. Misri also briefed media about the scheduled program of the BRICS Summit that will begin in Kazan tomorrow.
The summit begins on October 22. This is the day of welcome, and there is a leaders-only dinner on the evening of the first day. The main day of the summit is on the 23rd of October, and there are 2 main sessions, a closed plenary in the morning, followed by an open plenary in the afternoon, devoted to the main theme of the summit. The leaders are also expected to adopt the Kazan Declaration, which will lay the path forward for BRICS. This document is presently being negotiated in Kazan. The BRICS Summit ends on the 24th of October. However, the Prime Minister, on account of pressing commitments back home, will return to New Delhi on the 23rd of October itself. But on the 24th, the summit will conclude with the BRICS Plus, or the outreach session, where a number of countries have been invited by the chair. This session is focused on BRICS and the Global South, building a better world together. And it will have participation by the BRICS leaders who are there and these invited countries. I believe that about 28 heads of state and government and 5 international organizations will be participating in the outreach summit. The Indian delegation for the outreach summit will be led by Dr. S. Jaishankar, the External Affairs Minister. On the sidelines of the summit, the Prime Minister is expected to have a few bilateral meetings. These are presently being worked out. Just a special word about the city where the summit is being held. Kazan is the capital of the Republic of Tatarstan in Russia. It's the 5th largest city in Russia. And some of you may recall that during the visit of the Prime Minister to Russia in July, we had indicated our intention to open an Indian consulate in Kazan.
You were listening to an exclusive interview with India's ambassador to Russia, Vinay Kumar, on the eve of PM's visit to Russia to attend 16th BRICS Summit. Interviewer was Naseem Naqvi, Akashvani Correspondent. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of Akashvani. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR.